What's up everyone, it's Caddy with MoneyVest Real Estate, and in today's video I wanted to run through a analysis of an entire property. We're going to go through propertyfinder.ae, and I wanted to basically look on what's available in the market, what prices are we working with, kind of walk you through my thought process of analyzing deals, and we're going to run through that same exact process, kind of going over my spreadsheet, plugging in the numbers, the actual numbers, and whether it makes sense to buy or to not buy, and then also what offers and what numbers can we play with, what variables can we play with to better understand whether a deal makes sense or not. As I'm kind of progressing in my journey here in buying real estate in Dubai, my financing is going to be finalized in the first week of March. I am back in India, but I'll be traveling back to Dubai towards the end of February. And once the financing is available and finalized, then I'll be able to actually put in offers with a pre-approval and hopefully looking to close my first property in the month of March itself. So again, if you want to be a part of our journey in our community here, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I would really appreciate that if you drop a like and subscribe to this channel. It would mean the world to me as we continue to kind of grow our experience and our learning of investing in real estate, not just in Dubai, but also in all parts of the world where there's opportunity. So this right here is going to be my spreadsheet, which I broke down in one of my previous videos. And right now I am on propertyfinder.ae. And one of the areas that I mentioned that I'm looking at is JBC, Jumeirah Village Circle. It's an area which obviously is very close to the main touristy spots, which is the Palm Jumeirah, the Atlantis Hotel, the Arabian Gulf, Blue Towers, and JLT. And then, of course, if you go a little bit more east, you've got Business Bay, you've got downtown Dubai, DIFC, you've got Burj Khalifa, Dubai Mall, all those places. So if you run through the analysis and some of the filters that I've already put in, that I want to buy, not rent, apartment, that's the property type. Whatever bedroom, whatever bathroom, but the price range I'm looking for, at least for the first deal, somewhere between 400,000 and 900,000 AED. That's your dirhams. And if you do the math, that's going to be somewhere between, so if I do the math here very quickly, that's going to be between $108,000 to as much as $245,000, right? So between 108 to almost $250,000 in property prices. And then some of the other filters I've applied is that I want ready properties. That's a completion status, meaning that I don't want any off-plan properties. And as I mentioned in my previous video, that there's a lot of developers that sell you on this dream of off-plan properties, and then you have to pay like 1% each month, and the property is going to be done and handed over in a couple of years. I don't want to get into that because the property itself is not going to be generating any cash flow. So I'm looking for that's rent-ready properties only. And then I want a shared gym and a shared pool, right? That's part of the community, that's part of the building itself, that you want those amenities that are included as part of the overall deal. Other things, if they're included, of course, that's great, but those are not like a big sort of requirement, at least not at the moment. And then all furnishings are fine, furnished, unfurnished, partly furnished. I mean, I'm planning on furnishing my properties myself anyway. And property square footage wise, doesn't matter. We're going to do the math for that as well. So right now in JVC, using these criteria, there are 776 results. Now, I do want to point out there's a lot of properties that are going to be on the market, but that are not on Property Finder, meaning that when I speak to agents, property brokers, and managers that are handling a lot of their clients, sometimes they don't actually list properties, okay? What they do is that they have them reserved for their clientele. They show them those properties, and if there's any interested parties, great. But if the property doesn't sell for weeks, then they put them on Property Finder to see what the general market interest is like. But to 776 could be a number that's understated. There could be over 1,500, 2,000 properties on the market for JVC that kind of fit this criteria, but they're just not listed on these websites because, like I said, brokers, property managers that I've spoken to, they don't list these properties right away. They want to share it with their clientele first and then list it on the market. But anyway, we're going to work through this 276 properties here. First couple of ones that come up, 900,000, that's kind of like on the top of that range for 686 square feet. That's a 1-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in Bloom Towers B. Now, Bloom Towers is an area, is a building that I was actually looking at for my initial deal. I offered a price. They did not accept. That's okay. Our job is to put in as many offers with the price points that work for us, not for the seller, but for the buyer. As a buyer, as an investor, I want to offer a price that works for me, not for the seller. So if you plug in very, very simple, 900,000 dirhams, right? Come over to our spreadsheet, the purchase price, let's say 900,000 dirhams, and the square footage is 686. I'm going to plug in 686 over here. Automatically, we get an idea of square footage wise. This is 1,311 dirhams per square feet, right? that's actually quite reasonable if you think about it, because when I looked at the Bloom Towers transactions in the past, this is Bloom Towers, you'll notice that a lot of them are actually selling for around 1290 to 1300 dirhams per square feet, right? That's the price per square feet for the same exact apartment building. And these are all transactions from January, December of last year, November of last year. So what they're asking for a one bedroom apartment is actually quite reasonable. Now, what I can do is also I can go over to this website, right? So this is actually house prices, same property finder. This is more like the trend analysis. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Bloom Towers here. Bloom Tower B basically. So this right here, Bloom Tower B, Jumeirah Village Circle, type that in. And we're going to do one bedroom, right? That's the actual number of beds, apartment, completed projects. And then this is the average rental price, okay? 80,000 is the average, starting from 61,000. And the average asking sales price is 950,000. So they're actually quite within range of what is selling at 900,000. So if you take a look, this is actually a pretty decent looking property. So I've been to that same exact building, so I know what it looks like. So this is the entire place, one bedroom, entire kitchen, comes furnished with the washer. In Dubai, there's not a concept of like drying because Dubai is already so hot. So people usually try to like dry clothes on the balcony. But we got a nice kitchen. We got the oven, the stove, the exhaust. We got the fridge. And then we got the living room with a nice TV. This all comes in. The bedroom here. And then of course the bathroom. This is the balcony. This is a pretty good view. So again, I've been to the same building. It's actually a quite nice building. And this is the bathroom. Again, we got the shower, the toilet seat, of course the sink, everything. This is the entire building. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna actually go back over to the rental analysis here. 80,000 is the average rental price, starting from 61,000. So I'm actually gonna go a little bit on the lower end because I want to be conservative here. So let's just plug in 70,000 as the rent. So if you plug in 70,000 as the rent here, again, 60% is going to be finance, 40% down payment, because that's kind of like the norm here in Dubai. Your first deal can be 20/80, but every consequent deal has to be 60/40. So gross rent, what are we going to do here? We're going to simply plug in 70,000 divided by 12. We arrive at 5,833. That's going to be 25 years. I've been quoted 6.25 to 6.5%. That's as the rate. And so the payment every month is going to be 3,646. Homeowners insurance, you can kind of plug that in on average at 200 dirhams per month. So that's 2,400 a year. Service charges. Now, this is something that we have to include. So this service charge we have to update. So if you come back over to this property, let's see if there's any service charges listed. So right there, we've got the service charge, 1241 per square feet. So we're going to plug that number in. So that's going to be 1241. That's 8,500 dirhams per year for the entire year in service charges. Per month, that's going to be 709 dirhams is what we pay for service charges. Capital expenditures, we have to account for this. I basically put 5% of rent for capex. Repairs and maintenance, property management is going to be a little bit higher, closer to 9%. Vacancies at around 5%. And then utilities we don't take care of. The tenant takes care of that. So our entire cost or expenses for actually running this property is 5,955 dirhams, right? And again, 40% down payment, 60% financed, and then 8.24% is going to be closing cost. This is the entire list of the closing cost, closing fees. Some of them are fixed, some of them are variable, and a lot of them are different. So for example, government fees, bank fees, lawyer, broker fees, all that stuff is included. So the cash upfront needed is 434,000. That's about $118,000 for this particular deal. And then again, finance is going to be $147,000. $357 per square feet is what we're paying. Service charges $2,300 per year. This is all in USD. And total purchase price is going to be over $250,000. That's including all your expenses. Like this is your down payment, your financing cost, and your closing cost, everything included, almost 1 million dirhams, which is 265,000. So this is your gross rent. This is what our expected expenses are. And if you come down to this analysis now, in the first scenario, which is financed here, we're not making any money. In fact, we're losing 122 dirhams per month, which is obviously negative cap rate and negative cash on cash return. Now, the second type of analysis is almost the same with respect to PMT, HOI, and service charges. But what's not included here is CapEx. That's it, right? CapEx is not included. And the reason for that is because in Dubai, I mean, apartment buildings are fairly new. It's only been a couple of years they've been built. And for that reason, we don't expect some huge capital expenditures. A lot of the stuff, the building upkeep is already taken care of by the service charges that we're paying here, 8,500 dirhams that we're paying to the building, to the association. They take care of trash, building upkeep, common areas, amenities, all that stuff. And since we have an apartment, we don't have like a roof to take care of. We don't have a lawn to take care of. So when it comes to CapEx, you can decide to not include that. Repairs and maintenance, you can maybe include minor repairs and maintenance. If you decide to manage your own property, you can remove or not remove this. But I like to keep it because eventually I do want property management because I'm not going to be around forever, especially as the portfolio grows, right? If there's 100 properties that I'm managing, obviously I don't want to manage it myself. Like I need a team to account for that. So I keep that in. Vacancies also, since there are annual leases and the rents are pretty reasonable in terms of the payment structure. I don't expect a lot of vacancy, but again, you can kind of decide to keep it if you want to create a budget for this as well. And repairs and maintenance, again, it really depends on how conservative you want to be, how aggressive you want to be. So if you remove the capex and repairs and maintenance and simply keep the property management and vacancies, we arrive at total expenses of 5,300 dirhams. And in the second scenario, we're actually making 461 dirhams per month, which if you do the math is going to be roughly around $125 per month. So that's going to be that number. And cash on cash, we're looking at 1.27%. Still not a great deal because of such a low cash on cash, right? We can obviously get a much better cash on cash return investing in, let's say, US government bonds or anything else that is a little bit more risk free. Now, let's just play around with the numbers a little bit, right? So let's just go with a slightly higher rental income because as we learned over here that the actual average rental price is 80,000. We're going with 70,000. So we're going to be a little bit more conservative. So if we go with, let's say, 75,000 per month, per year, now we're looking at 6,250 dirhams per month in rent. And if we offer a slightly lower number, let's say that we offer 850,000, right? We plug that number in. And now look at how our numbers change. Now in the first scenario, we're actually netting about over 1% cash on cash with almost 400 dirhams per month. And in the second one, we're netting almost 3% cash on cash with a little bit over 1,000 dirhams per month in net cash flow. That's after accounting for all your expenses and your budgets as well. So that's the whole idea behind doing this type of analysis, kind of understanding what is the best purchase price, what is it that you want to really offer to the seller, and then what rents actually make sense. The idea here is obviously to go with a bearish case scenario, to go with a little bit of a conservative estimate, and then obviously be proven correct, and for the reality to be better than what the expectations are. You never want to be betting on the best case scenario and the reality to be a little bit less than that. So in other words, you don't want to have over expectations and for the markets to under deliver those returns. You want to have very, very low expectations and the markets to be over delivering on your expectations. So I think that's really the way to kind of approach this. That's how I'm going about it. But let me know in the comment section down below, what would you change about this type of analysis and what would you do differently? Because I'm really open to suggestions and ideas and feedback. And this right here, again, are some of the other analysis. So let's say that I decide to buy this all cash. Then of course my cash on cash is going to be much better, 5%, almost 7%. But then you kind of lose out on one of the biggest benefits, which is equity pay down, right? So you're not allowing your tenant to pay down the equity for you, because these are the 4 big benefits of owning real estate in the first place, which is equity pay down. This is what the tenant does for you. He pays down, or he or she pays down the equity for you as you take on a mortgage. Tax benefits, since Dubai doesn't have any property taxes, so that benefit is already gone because it's already there. And cash flow is what you're generating on a net basis every month, and capital appreciation, right? You want the property value to increase. So these two can be there when you're buying cash, but you kind of miss out on the equity pay down. And I want to hit at least 3 of the 4 benefits of owning real estate. And since tax benefits are not there in Dubai already, so I basically only need 2 of the 4 that are listed here. But it would be nice if I can get all 4, which is to say that I can get equity pay down, I can get a good cash flow, and I can get good capital appreciation as well. But even then, I have some expectations, like I need to see at least 300 dirhams per month in cash flow. I need to see at least 1 to 2% capital appreciation. 2% would be nice. It's actually on the lower end. And then I also want to see a net cash on cash return of at least 4 to 5%, right? So this number right here, net cash on cash, needs to be at least 4 to 5% for it to make sense for me to be putting up this much cash into a deal. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, we just went over the first property itself. I'll be going over more in the future. We'll kind of run through some of the analysis. We'll go over some of the other stuff. We'll read through whether it even makes sense to kind of schedule a viewing and kind of do more detailed analysis on this. So you can see kind of like the rents. So 17 Feb rented for 73,000, 85,000. Then this one rented for 67,000. So that discrepancy can be due to multiple different reasons. Maybe these properties are furnished. This one's not furnished. This one maybe allows for more flexibility on the checks and the payment structure. Maybe they're allowing for monthly checks versus 2 checks per year. So, there's obviously a lot of different variables at play, but it gives you a bit of a sense of what apartments are being rented for, because the area square footage, this one's actually less, right? 629 is less than 655, and yet is rented for more than 67,000. So there's could be multiple different variables at play here, but on average, if you go with 72,000 is what I'm using in this example, the purchase price still needs to be lower for it to make sense in this deal. So that was a very, very quick sort of analysis and run through of how I'm going about analyzing these properties. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And again, I'll be doing more of these. I'll be doing like in-person viewings and schedule these viewings as well for all of you to see. Make sure that you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.